What is happening, everybody? It's TJ here from Dream Diecast Cars, and yes, I know I am wearing the Ferrari shirt again, but it is fitting today because I'm going to be doing a video which I've been excited to do ever since I put out the unboxing of this diecast car, Ferrari FF, made by Hotwheels Superelite. In this video, I'm going to be comparing it to the regular version to see if it's worth the extra money. Now, real quick before I start getting into all this stuff, I just want to say this is my first video that I've put out since the 1,000 subscriber special. So first I want to say that I'm sorry that I missed Monday's video. The only reason for that is because I started making a video like late Sunday night, but then I really hated it. I was just going to put it out late, but I really didn't like it at all, so I figured I would just wait till today, or by the time you see it, it should be Friday, just to put out this video because I was really excited to do this. I also want to say about the 1,000 subscriber special that I'm glad that you guys liked it. I got some really good reviews. I did it for you guys to give back for the 1,000 people, even more now, that have been following me, so just ample thank you for that. And I also want to say that you can go check out on Facebook. I did a time-lapse of the burn. It's like 17 minutes. I shortened it down to like 2 minutes. And it looks pretty cool, so go check that out, facebook.com, or why do I always say that? I always say facebook.com. Facebook, go to Dream Diecast Cars. While you're there, you might as well like that page. Now let's get rolling right along into this video, and as I said, I have been really excited about it, because now is the time to compare these two diecast cars, the Ferrari FF by Hot Wheels, their Super Elite Edition, and their regular Elite Edition. Now, I think at the beginning I accidentally said their regular version, because I think there are actually three, but no, these are both Elites, just one is a higher version of Elite, you could say, than the other one. So let's just go over some quick stats. I actually weighed both of them, because sometimes the like nicer cars weigh a little bit more. However, they were both 2 pounds. Now, there are a lot more of these out than there are of these. There are actually 10,000 Ferrari FF Elite Editions out, but there are only 1,000 Ferrari FF Super Elites out. But then there is the price, and this is really the big deal of the show. The Elite costs $75, but the Super Elite you can find for about $275, which is a lot of money, especially for a Hot Wheels. Now, I know Hot Wheels Elites are nice, but are they really low BBR territory? Well, I guess that's what we have to find out today. Now, another cool thing about the Super Elite is that it comes with this little leather base. I'm not sure if it's real leather, and it may look pretty bad on the screen, you know, like these little holes look really bad, but trust me, when you have the car on it, it looks very, very nice. So that's it for the specifications, I guess is what you could call them. And before we start doing the fun part, which is the actual comparison, I want to put this right out in the open at the beginning. This diecast car is better than this one. This is the Super Elite, this is the Elite. The Super Elite is better, but that's not what we're here to debate. We're here to see if the Super Elite is worth its $275. We need to see if this diecast car is worth $200 more than this one. But Bernardo and I both unanimously agree that this one is the better diecast car. And on that note, I also want to thank Bernardo for lending me his Ferrari FF because I don't have two. This is his. Now, in true Dream Diecast Cars tradition, we are going to start with the front of these diecast cars. And I know this isn't specifically the front, but you can tell that the Super Elite's color is much better than the Elite's color. Now, you could say, well, they might be two different colors, but I'm not really sure that they are. And anyway, I don't know what color this would be. I don't think a Ferrari makes a cheesy red color, because that really isn't a nice look. But the Super Elite really is a nice deep color, very rich, and very good looking. Now, let's move along into the lights. Now, these are the lights on the regular Elite Edition, and they look pretty good. You can see the little bulb in the middle right there, and then some plastic little LEDs coming down the side, just like the regular FF. Looks very nice. However, the Super Elite does one-up it, barely, and that's how you're going to find most of the stuff on this diecast car, just barely one-upping the regular Elite Edition. The bulb looks pretty similar, a little bit different, but for the most part pretty similar, and the little LED parts are metal, rather than plastic. You can tell a little bit more of a glimmer, look a little bit more realistic, but not by too much. A little bit nicer, but not by too much. Now, I also want to add that I was talking to some people on Facebook just as I bought this die-cast car, and I was asking them, I was telling them how nervous I was, and because I spent so much money on it, I was really wondering how good the quality is. And one person said something that I think you should remember as I go throughout this video. They said it's all the little details that add up, and that is really something that you see on these front lights. This one looks a little bit better on the Super Elite, but not by too much. Look in the middle of the front of these die-cast cars, and you will see the logo. Of course, the little rectangle, which has the prancing horse in it and says Ferrari. Looks very nice on the Super Elite. All the details are sculpted perfectly, and the badge pops out. However, on the regular Elite Edition, the badge actually goes in a little bit, which is kind of unrealistic, and the little parts aren't as clear as they are on here, but that's barely noticeable. However, because this one pops out more on the Super Elite, it's the nicer one. Now, when you look lower down on the front of these die-cast cars, you will see the grills. And as you can see, Bernardo is missing his prancing horse on the front, which is weird and very un-Hot Wheels-like, because he just keeps his on the shelf, but somehow it fell off, and Hot Wheels usually has really good build quality. But luckily there's another prancing horse just like this one on the back, so we'll compare it there. As for the grills, mine looks a little bit better. Has a more metally feel and a more metally look. I think mine's made out of real metal, whereas his is plastic. His also has a little bit of discoloration that you can see, very mild, but it's there. Then look lower down at these little intakes, and they look practically the same. Exactly the same. Now let's move along to the side of these die-cast cars, where we will start by looking at the wheels. These are the wheels on the Super Elite, and these are the rims on the regular Elite, and they look exactly the same. So, not worth the extra money there as far as wheels go. However, when you look inside at the caliper, mine look a little bit nicer on the Super Elite than these do. Ferrari looks pretty much the same, that lettering, but there's kind of a little red blob below it, and mine looks more, just a little bit nicer. The calipers are pretty similar. His have like little flecks of paint, and mine have little perforations in them, but other than that, pretty similar. Prancing horse logo. Mine is a little bit nicer because it pops out a little bit, but they look pretty much the same, at least from that standpoint. I'm sorry for making you dizzy moving around so much. The nuts on the Super Elite look a little bit better. They pop out, and they're made of metal. This one is in there. It looks like it's made of plastic. And then on the Super Elite, you can see this little tire air filler, and the regular Elite does not have that. Look a little bit to the right, and you'll see this intake and the Ferrari shield. The car that you're looking at right now is the regular Elite Edition, and it's really hard to see on camera, but this little intake here just looks a little bit cheaper because you can see some of the red paint kind of spread around it. And the prancing horse, or this shield, really is no competition for the one on the Super Elite, because this one looks a little bit more defined, but that one's just painted on, and this one pops out. And also, as I said, the grills look nicer on the Super Elite. On the regular Elite, the Pininfarina badging is just painted on. However, on the Super Elite, it is made out of metal and pops out. Now we can move on to the backs of these die-cast cars, where we will start by looking at the little prancing horse in the middle. This is the one on the Super Elite, and both of them are made out of real metal. However, the one on the Super Elite just has a little bit more sculpting in it. The little limbs and stuff are a little bit more defined, and that might be kind of hard to see, but it's really hard to tell because they're like these little kind of I don't want to call them drawings, like these little flecks that they put inside that makes it look really realistic on this one. However, this one is just pretty much a flat cutout of the horse. The tail lights look exactly the same on the Super Elite as they do on the regular version, and the rear intakes are also exactly the same. Both diffusers, this one is on the Super Elite and this one is on the regular Elite, look exactly the same. However, the Super Elite has much nicer exhausts. They're made out of a real metal, and all the little parts are sculpted very nicely, whereas these look really plasticky and pretty cheap. So that's pretty much it for the back. Now let's turn it around and take a look at the hood. Now the hoods on both these die-cast cars are extremely hard to open up, and I cannot really fiddle with Bernardo's and tell if his is easier because I don't want to break something since it's not mine. However, for this reason, I keep a little toothpick in the trunk of my FF, and I'll show you how I can use it. On both these die-cast cars, you can see this little hole at the bottom, and all I have to do is press this one in, push it a little, get really nervous while I'm pushing it, and eventually after I work with it for a while, it does come up. There we go. So that's kind of a bad mark for the Super Elite right there, because something which costs so much should have a hood that's either easy to open up, or it should come with a little button on the bottom like most Kyoshos do. Why did I just shut that? No matter, I can open it up later. But for now, let's check out if Bernardo's is any easier to pop up. And his pops up just a tiny bit, but with almost no hesitation. So it's easy to slide my fingernail in and pop it right up. So after a quick prayer and a lot of struggling, I did finally open back up the Super Elite's hood. So now we can compare the engines. So the engine you're seeing right now is the one on the regular Elite Edition. And one thing that you'll notice is the one on the Super Elite Edition has a little bit deeper colors and just looks overall a little bit nicer. For example, you see these two little caps. The one on mine are made out of real metal. Everything on mine is made out of a little bit nicer of a material. This little Ferrari thing, which is kind of hard to see on camera, that's kind of like a stickery, or I can't really tell if it's a sticker. No, it's a sticker. And then on mine, mine's like a real plaque on there, which looks really nice. You can see a little bit more depth into the engine. It's very hard to tell, but I think after looking for a while, I just noticed a tiny bit more depth with mine. You can see the words Ferrari more clearly, made out of a metally material, much better than they are on Bernardo's. Once again, though, I stress, $200 better? I think not. Now to the trunks. And guess what? They're exactly the same. Literally the only difference is that the one I'm showing you right now is the Super Elite. This little area on the Super Elite looks better than it does on the regular version. But when you look inside the actual trunk, you'll see that everything is exactly the same. Same materials, same details. So now onto the interiors. And this is the part where one would think the Super Elite would start to jump far ahead of the regular Elite. So it's time to find out. When you look on the inside of the doors, you will see that the ones on the Super Elite look a lot nicer than the ones on the regular Elite. You can see all these little details inside of here which are sculpted very nicely and look just pristine, and I'm sorry about the focus right now. Everything just looks more carved out, and it looks like they put much more effort into this door than they did into this one. The Super Elite also comes pretty far ahead when you look at the steering wheel. And this is because the details are simply more defined on this one. The one on the regular Elite Edition almost looks blurry. You can see the details, but not too well. But on the Super Elite, everything is cut out and crystal clear. The air vents on the Super Elite also look more detailed than the ones on the regular Elite Edition, as these ones too seem more sculpted, and if you look really close you can see a little prancing horse in the middle. These ones simply do not live up. The center console looks a lot nicer on the Super Elite, as once again there are little details like the word Ferrari, which pops out more. You can see that the navigation system is turned on, all these little buttons down here. Now one thing that I really cannot mention is the carbon fiber, because it could simply be a different type of interior than the one that the regular Elite would have featured. So you can't say, oh, well, the Super Elite has carbon fiber and this one doesn't, because that technically might not be a detail, rather just a different choice of interior colors and that sort of stuff. Neither die-cast car features felt, and they have the exact same type of flooring, so I'm not exactly sure, but I'm going to assume that the real FF does not have a felt flooring, or else that would be pretty unrealistic. The seats in the Elite are extremely similar to the seats in the Super Elite. However, once again, when you look on the driver's side, you will see the same thing with the center console. All the buttons and stuff are much more well sculpted out than the ones on the regular Elite. So now it's time for me to tell you guys my thoughts. Is the Hot Wheels Super Elite FF worth $200 more than the regular Elite FF? I sat down with both these cars for about 30 or 45 minutes, I can't remember, looked at them, and I spent a long time thinking about this question. And I think my final answer would have to be no, it is not worth $200 more than this one. I'd say it's worth maybe $100 more at most. Do I regret buying this? No, I'm glad I experienced it. I'm glad I tried buying it. I'm glad I have it in my collection. But next time, am I going to buy a Super Elite? Probably not. It's hard for me to say. Watch me go be a hypocrite. But I mean, I don't think it's really worth it. I mean, the Elite is a very nice die-cast car. I hope I wasn't making it sound too bad, because there are just so many more little details on this one than there are on this one. However, it is not worth $200 extra, especially when this is such a nice die-cast car for such a great price. I think that this die-cast car is underpriced, actually. But if they're going to sell it for $75, then that's the price I have to judge it to, and it is just a great die-cast car for that. So guys, let me know your opinion. Leave your comments down below. Would you spend $200 extra for the Super Elite Edition? I can't wait to see what you guys think, and I hope I get some good comments down there. So thank you guys for watching. Bernardo, if you're watching, thank you very much for letting me borrow your FF to compare this to, because I was very excited to do this comparison. And thank you all, thank all you guys. I'm just messing up the ending. I'm so sorry. Thank all of you guys for watching. I still said that badly. And I hope to see you on Monday, like 2 days from now. Goodbye, everyone. I'll see you then.